There's something they don't tell you when you move here. It's not the weather, culture, or loneliness. It's taxes. Your earnings don't match your forms. You're unsure about W2 versus 1099, adjusted gross, or Schedule C. How can you owe money when you barely make enough for shoes? They tell you to dream, but not how to file taxes as a gig worker with some cash jobs. Weeks of forms and stress later, you're still unsure, and mistakes add up, turning refunds into penalties. FinServ Pro handles taxes for people like you. Did you send money home? Pay tuition abroad? File jointly with a partner who doesn't work? We know the questions because we've lived the answers. You don't know what you don't know. But with FinServ Pro, you don't have to. To find out more, visit www.finserv.pro today. FinServ Pro, your gateway to financial success.
Dr. Lilian Agbeyegbe serves as the chair of the Nigerian American Political Action Committee, NAPAC, DMVPD, driving a clear mission to elevate Nigerian American voices and strengthen civic engagement across Maryland, Washington, D.C., Virginia, Philadelphia, and Delaware. Her vision is to transform the community's collective potential into measurable influence and increased representation. Dr. Agbeyegbe champions the movement from presence to power. Her leadership is anchored in the principles of engage, bringing people together to participate confidently, empower, building capacity, and informing the community, elevate, creating pathways to advocate for meaningful change. She fosters collaboration, strengthens community networks, and inspires a shared effort to increase visibility and amplify impact. Under her direction, the community is moving strategically from participation to true power. A respected public health professional and scholar, Dr. Agbeyegbe holds Doctor of Public Health from the University of North Texas Health Science Center, Master of Public Health from the City University of New York, Hunter College, Bachelor of Science in Economics from the University of Lagos, Nigeria.
It's titled Power to Presence. Power to Presence. Please make very welcome and have an expectant heart, as we say in the churches. Our distinguished speaker, Dr. Lilian Agbeyegbe. Your hands together for her, please.
Good afternoon, everybody. I trust your day is going well. So my presentation going to go off? No, I wasn't talking to you, I was talking to them. I'd like to congratulate Mr. Ibrahim for putting this event together. It's much expected, and I'm very glad to see everybody has come out. Today I want to talk to us about from presence to power, And in giving you an overview of what I'm going to be talking about, that's the next slide, I'm going to be talking about the Nigerian American Public Affairs Commission. I'm the current chair of NAPAC DMV PD, and you get to find out what that is shortly. The next slide, please. I'm going to be talking about the Nigerian American presence, Nigerian Americans' power, and representation and wealth. Next slide, please. So in talking about the Nigerian American Public Affairs Commission, we are a non-partisan public affairs organization, and we're focused on empowering Nigerian Americans to participate fully in civic life. We work to ensure that the interests and perspectives of our diaspora community are represented at every level of government. Our members, people like you, professionals, community leaders, students, entrepreneurs, public servants, people who are committed to strengthening the political and civic engagement of our community. And as I said, I'm the chair of NAPAC VPD, and what we're doing is we serve the District of Columbia, Maryland, Virginia, Pennsylvania, and Delaware. It's a national organization, so if you go to NEPAC.org, we have chapters across the country, but we also have a PAC here that serves people in this area. Talking about the presence of Nigerians in the United States, Nigerian Americans, we represent one of the fastest growing and most dynamic immigrant community in the United States with significant population growth across major metropolitan areas. And these, what you're looking at, are real numbers. This is coming from research studies conducted by the United States Bureau of American Community Survey and the Migration Policy Institute. So I'm not just throwing out things that cannot be substantiated. We can find out that in terms of population size and growth, we have been growing. We've actually doubled in the last 20 years. Our presence in the country is really remarkable. In fact, we are ranked number 1 among the African immigrant population. We have a concentration across the country, yes. There's almost nowhere you will go to that you wouldn't find a Nigerian, but we are concentrated in certain areas. And talking about concentration, I have a large concentration here in Maryland, yes, but Texas beats us in the numbers. But California and New York, we are all over the place. So we are a large number of people. Now, we don't just have numbers that don't make sense, next slide, or we don't have numbers that don't count. And numbers count in the sense that we're amongst the most educated group in the United States. Whether you're talking about bachelor's degree or you're talking about graduate degrees, if you look at our numbers, we are trending higher than the United States national average. So we have the people in the large numbers, and we have the education in the large numbers. Note those two. When again you go into leadership and look at us, what are we doing in the United States with our numbers and with our education? I'm sure a lot of people, how many people are hearing about Dr. Oluyinka Olutoye for the first time? For the first time? A number of people know him. He performed that surgical feat where he removed the baby, took out the tumor, put the baby back in the womb, and then the baby grew to full term. That was a Nigerian American. The Red Lobster in my neighborhood has closed down because Red Lobster was going through a crisis. Filed for bankruptcy, a number of them shut down. But Red Lobster is living a new life now. And guess who's at the helm of that affair? It's a Nigerian American, a young man, and he's just reported that the sales this year are up 40% from last year. The women are not sitting on the sideline either. That's why I'm here. But look at Jessica Matthews. A number of you may not know her, but she's doing remarkable work, being featured across the country, Harvard trained. So we begin to say, what are we doing with ourselves? If we have all of these numbers, why are we not showing up where we should be showing up? Because what research tells us is that despite our high educational and professional achievements, we remain significantly underrepresented in decision-making rooms where key policies, budgets, and opportunities are shaped. We thank God for the likes of Wanika Fisher, Agbeyegbe, Will Chawanda. We have a few people here and there, but look at it, less than 12%. Less than 12%. Yet, when you look at the academic institutions, when you look at the hospitals, when you look at IT, and you look at all over the place, you were talking earlier and he was telling about Shenwu, where you have Mr. Talabi who's here. We have leaders in various fields across the place. But we're sitting down and we're sort of minding our business. And we're facing the things that concern us. And it's good that we can be working where we are, that we can get the recognition that we're getting, that we can be in the C-suite and all of that. But we need to do more than that. I'll tell you why. Next slide. Why does representation matter? Housing, wealth building, business entrepreneurship, all of these things are influenced by policies. And it's the people who are in office that get to effect the change. I work a lot in the intimate partner violence field, the domestic violence field, and I'll give you some examples from that. I live in Montgomery County. For the longest time, we didn't have a safe exchange place for people who are children of separated parents to meet. We advocated for it. And today, we have a safe exchange place in Montgomery County. Why? Because the government taught it up? No, the government didn't think it up. We put it in their mind and we went to them. We advocated and we said, you need to do this for us. And so this is why representation matters. They can have the money from here to the wazoo. Unless somebody is knocking at their door and saying this is what needs to happen, nothing will happen. So this is why representation matters. And go to the next slide, please. So this is how lack of representation affects wealth. For us, when we have no representation or we have limited representation, there's nobody saying the things that matter to us. Do you know that for the longest time, if a man raped a woman and she got pregnant and she decided to keep the pregnancy, the man had the right to parent the child with the woman. How are you parenting your child with a rapist? But the law allowed it. And then we went, and then we went, and then we went, and then we went. And then the law was changed. But if you have limited representation, you cannot influence policy. You cannot begin to say, yes, maybe this policy works for you, but you're not Nigerian Americans. You don't have to do the sort of work that we do. You don't live in the places that we live. We want to live in the neighborhood that you're living. But the way you have structured that, the way we're getting the loans, the way we have to be approved, it doesn't work for us. Can you modify this so that it works for us? You can't do that if you do not have representation. You have limited opportunities, and then you slower wealth accumulation. And then they come and say, we're all the way here and you're all the way here. It's because something didn't happen. You know, as I was preparing for this meeting, I went and I looked at the Ethiopian Community Development Center. They have an office in DC. I did some work with them earlier in the year. They have been around since 1983. Ethiopians. They're from Africa, just like us. But they come together and they put themselves and they have a center. They have a whole complex. They have so many things. Agbeyegbe was talking about Chinatown. The Chinese are not originally Americans. They came here. They have a Chinatown in DC. They have a Chinatown in New York. You go there, they have signs in Chinese language. It is their town. It is their thing. You think they were just working around and somebody said, come and build Chinatown? No. They went to the elected officials and they said, we want somewhere for us. And that's how they made it happen. They advocated for themselves and they're able to do business in a way that works for them because they are in their community. And so these are the things that we need to do. So next slide, please. As I'm here today, this is my key takeaway for you. How do we translate our presence to power? We are here in the numbers. We are here, we are educated. We are here, we are leadership positions in organizations. But guess what? All the money you make for yourself doesn't translate to community wealth if it's only you doing that. So we need you to stand up and we need you to go the next level. We thank you for your education. We thank you for your excellence. But now we are calling on you to go to the next level. And how do you go to the next level? Register to vote. Okay? Agbeyegbe said something like, we're in a place where systems work. Don't say my vote doesn't matter. This is not the place to say my vote doesn't matter. When I was working in Staten Island in New York, we went to Albany to see our elected officials. I was in the office and they said he wasn't there and he will see you when you go back to Staten Island. So I went back to Staten Island and I called the office and they said he wasn't there. I called the office, he said he wasn't there. The third time I called the office, I said, I gave them dates and time. I was in your office in Albany and you said you will see me at your local office. I've called your office at this date and time. I've called your office at this date and time. Nobody has gotten back to me. Somebody got back to me the next day. I was no big shot. I was a member of their constituent. I was working in their office, and they could tell from my documentation that I meant business. So it's important that you register to vote and that you do vote, because here in the United States, your vote does count. I want you to volunteer for campaigns. Volunteer to support. Wanika says she's running for Attorney General. Volunteer to support. Don't spend all your time. I'm so glad. Look, let me tell you, there's nothing like a Nigerian party, and I love all of those, okay? Nothing can beat a good place of amala on the spot and the jollof rice and the whole 9 yards. Yes? But there are other things you can do with your time. There are other things you can do with your time. And you might be working 2 jobs, 3 jobs, 4 jobs, but guess what? You're working 2, 3, 4 jobs because you're not working at a living wage job. If you take the time to advocate and we get those policies in place, you might not need to do that. So take your time and volunteer for a campaign. Go from door to door, whatever it is that they need, volunteer for a campaign. Join civic boards. I have a younger daughter who goes to school, and sometimes I go to the PTA meeting and there are only like 2 or 3 black people at the meeting. And guess what they're deciding in those places? They're deciding policies that will influence your children. You are not there. Go to the board, find out where is somewhere that I can participate in. I need to influence policy in this country, because guess what? We all used to have the mindset, at least the generation before us, used to have the mindset that we're going to go back home. We're going to go back home. If you ask your children to spell home, they can't spell home to save their lives, okay? So they're not going anywhere. And this is what they're going to be. How do you want them to live? Maybe you're still going to go home and you're going to leave them here. So you might be protecting them right now. You might be able to keep your eye over them right now. But what happens when you do go home and they have to live with policies that you didn't influence? Go and join these boards, okay? And next thing I'm going to say is support candidates. Contribute your time and contribute your money. I sit on a couple of boards, and when it's time for fundraising, I've said this a couple of times, so people who've heard this before, permit me to say it again. I usually bring the lowest amount of board, because I'm sitting on this board with other, white Americans, Caucasians. And when I'm asking my Nigerian friends for money and people are sending me $25 or $50, one person actually called me and said, "Oh, Lilian, are you sure? What do they need this money for? Because if I send this $25 to Nigeria, and the whole 9 yards." Yes, I know your $25 is going to go a long way in Nigeria, but this is how politics works in the United States. Elected officials are beholden to the people who give them money for their campaigns. And that's why they are not allowed to take all the money from one person. You think these people don't have 5 friends who can give them all the money they want? But the system is structured so that they are not beholden to 5 friends. They need to be beholden to 100,000 people. So they need everybody to contribute. So guess what? When you fund their campaign, you become a stakeholder. You have a right to call them and say, "I donated to your campaign. I live in your constituent. You need to listen to me. This isn't working for us. This needs to change." So you need to contribute your money. Donate your time. Go and talk to them. And then don't do this thing where you've given your money and that's all there is to it. Still follow up with them. Know the policies that are harmful to you and say to them, "I voted for you. This is not acceptable." It may have worked in some certain times. Look, let me tell you, time changes and things change with time. There was one time we couldn't be sitting here. This is the United States of America. We can't be sitting here. We talked about carrying your green card about. It's not even beyond carrying your green card about. There's so many other things. But times have changed. And in today's life, we have a right to be here. Things are going to change when policies change. Policies are going to change when people advocate for them. People are going to advocate for policies when they are vested in them. And you cannot be vested in what's happening if you're not at the table. Dr. Okpesom is famous for saying, if you're not at the table, you're going to be eating as many on the table. The time to say, I want to be an expert in my field, is that generation before us. That time is gone. The time to say, I'm doing my best, I'm paying my bills, I have my house. My pastor will say, your house, your 1.5 cars and your picket fence. That time is gone. Now is the time for community wealth, for leveraging strength, leveraging our presence, leveraging our opportunities. We have the numbers, we have the skills, we have the competences, we have the connections, we have the wealth. Now is the time to translate our presence to power in the communities that we live in. Thank you. So that last slide was telling you about NAPAC, okay? So I'm standing here as the chair of NAPAC, and we do call on you to join us, okay? So I was seeing a lot of people nodding their heads. I'm seeing, yeah, you think this is a good idea, and you might be thinking, I don't know how to do this though. So that's our regional director saying napacusa.org. I don't know how to do, you do not have to do this on your own, okay? Believe you me, you don't have to do this. I don't know how to register. I don't know which elected officials to vote for. I don't know what policies I should be interested in. I don't know how to contact my elected officials. I don't know who I should be funding. I don't know who I should be volunteering for. We can help you with all of that. NAPAC USA and napacusa.org. Go there, sign up, join us. It's really very affordable, and the return on your investment is much more than you can imagine. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Hear, hear. Please, one more time, please jam those hands together for her. Dr. Lilian Agbeyegbe, thank you.
They almost didn't get the house, not because of money, but because the paperwork didn't speak their language. She's a nurse. He drives Lyft. 3 kids, 1 room. Every dollar towards her dream home. But the mortgage questions came. What's this document? Why credit history? Why visa status? No answers, only rejections. Then they found FinServ Pro. No magic, just listening, explaining, translating, showing income lenders ignored, making them feel seen. Buying a house isn't just money, it's belief and trust. FinServ Pro walks that road with you. This is the house that almost wasn't, until someone said, let's try again. Visit www.finserv.pro today.